Welcome to Rising Frequencies, where we will help you apply esoteric wisdom to your daily life. I'm Andrea Mullaney, and I'm here with Lisa Rising Berry. We're doing this show on behalf of the School of the Holy Science and Astrotheology Radio. Hello, everyone. This is our third show. Welcome.
Hello.
We're happy to be here.
So am I. Hope everyone's doing well. And how about those solar flares? Instead of talking sports and saying, how about those Giants or how about those Ravens? Raisins. I'm from Baltimore. My Baltimore friends are going to crucify me for that one. But how about those solar flares? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I'm
one
speechless.
After the other. The sunspot that's there, it's, I don't know, it's AR 2192. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest sunspot in over 24 years, almost 25, and it's finally just about to pass away from facing Earth, but there's still a chance of more solar flares from it even now. And it is equivalent to 33 planet Earths. If you skin them and lay them out flat, the Earth fits into it 33 times.
I know. It could swallow us whole.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be just great. Black hole sun.
I know, but the sun's supposed to be a stargate, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything supposed to come into our solar system is supposed to travel through the sun and come here.
I mean, call me crazy, but I just think it would be wonderful if the Earth would pass through that Stargate and we would come out the other side in the Golden Age. I mean, no one knows because we're in the darkest Iron Age that we've ever been in, because we're beginning the 5th cycle. So no one knows how that's going to happen, but wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, the sun is alchemy and transformation by fire. That's out of right. The ashes, and that would be like a reset button. It wouldn't be very gradual, I guess. I don't know. But that's my vote.
A lot of people say it just happens in the blink of an eye, too. So you don't really know.
Well, you have going a lot more information on that than I do with all the sciencey stuff with the solar flares. You leave me in the dust with that, girl.
No, I'm just nerding out. I'm trying to stay left. I used to be so left-brained, and now I kind of switched to right-brained and then got a little dingy on the left-brain side. So now
you have really good information about the solar flares.
Yeah, well, we had 3 X-class solar flares, which are the largest kind, the X-class. There's X, M, C, and then A and B. A, B, C, M, and X. And the X are the largest ones. We had an X2 flare, which is twice as strong as an X1. Then we had, I think that was that on Friday? And then we had an then we had 7 M-class flares, which are still pretty darn big. And then we had an X3, and then we had an X1. And we had all that stuff between Friday and yesterday. And before that, we had the solar eclipse. And something that's interesting, we're just getting hammered with energy and solar energy. And, a lot of, I have heard, and I feel this is true, that the Earth and the Sun, we know for sure through science that the Earth and Sun are electrically coupled. But isn't it nice? The Sun emits positive energy and protons, and the Earth is negatively charged. So doesn't that fit nicely? It's kind of like man and wife, or woman and male female.
It's a true hero gamos union of the as above of the elements of the sun and the moon, which is our, the moon being our femininity and the solar being the masculine. Heros gamos doesn't just apply to physicality. It applies to everything. So that's the highest expression of that, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the sun has been sending us these incredible flares, solar flares. However, with this particular set of flares, we have not received CMEs, really. I mean, I think they said there are little ones where there are some particles that have come out, but for the most part, it's just the radiation that come from the solar flares themselves. And a CME is a coronal mass ejection. I'm going to do the best I can. I am not a scientist. I've just I'm going with feeling and what I've been studying over the years.
You're really good. You're really good.
And a CME is a coronal mass ejection. It's when plasma comes off of the sun and can hit the earth if it's an earth-facing ejection. And CMEs are generated by solar flares. They're also generated when plasma filaments, they're filaments they call them, they're like long skinny strings that are on the earth, on the sun of energy, and they release their plasma to the earth. Now that stuff is usually proton storms are caused by that, and they're denser, and they come to earth, and a lot of folks are worried about the actual CME eruptions because that sends dense particles to earth that do impact our radio frequency waves. It impacts the satellites and communications and stuff like that, and if it's big enough it could impact electricity and all that good stuff. However, that didn't happen this time. Now, there is a positive side to CMEs hitting the Earth. When these coronal mass ejections come off of the sun and hit the Earth, they actually protect the particles zooming off the sun and coming around the Earth. Actually protects the Earth on the sunny side. And all the stuff always hits on the sunny side. It's much, whenever, it does emit or eject, when it hits the side that is facing the sun, that's the side that gets the most impact from it. The dark side doesn't get as much. But it protects the Earth from cosmic rays. Now, the Earth is constantly getting bombarded by cosmic rays as well, beyond our solar system. Gamma ray bursts that come from stars. I think we just had a supernova that occurred in about, I don't know where exactly, but that continually expands and that hits our Earth. We are supposedly going through this photon belt now as well, and these high energy particles are affecting the Earth. And so we're getting bombarded by this stuff all the time, and especially now with a photon belt coming through. And so what's interesting is usually when the sun emits solar flares, especially as many as it has with a huge sunspot, we should have gotten some big old CMEs if you judge by past history of what the sun has done. But this time we didn't. So we have not been prevented from receiving these cosmic rays. So right now we're getting radiation from the sun and radiation from these cosmic rays. The photon belt hasn't stopped. It hasn't been prevented, because I believe that the photon belt is actually helping us. It's increasing the frequency of the Earth, and so that the work that the photon belt is doing was not interrupted by the sun. The sun just kind of added electricity to the Earth. And right now we're very ionized, and what happens is when these solar flares come in, the radiation ionizes or almost over ionizes the ionosphere, and the ionosphere is the outermost ring or level of the Earth's atmosphere. It's part of the thermosphere. The ionosphere is 3 levels within the thermosphere of the Earth's atmosphere. And what happens is when this radiation, like super fast, comes in, hits the atoms and the molecules that are in the ionosphere, it knocks electrons free. And so you end up with all these negatively charged particles that are zooming around free and kind of erratic. And the more you get, the lower down it goes, and it impacts our weather. the more ionized the atmosphere is, the more storms you get, because the more water vapor is actually able to be condensed into clouds, because the atmosphere is denser, and you get all these electrons, and they attract the water, the little bitty minute water molecule thingies, and they attract to the electrons, and more attracts, and then you get this big negatively charged set of clouds that forms lightning. Because the Earth is negatively charged, these storms, these clouds are negatively charged, and they repel, and they go zoom, and have to, the Earth attracts those electrons, actually, because it's almost like the sun is feeding the Earth its electron, its negative charge.
Well, yeah, because the Earth, I mean, from your science perspective, wouldn't you say, well, it's Gaia, it's feminine, so it's receiving, and the sun is solar, it's masculine. So
that's right. Yeah, it's almost like sex,
Well, yeah, that's why I was saying, heroes, gamos for
yeah,
those
right.
for people who don't know, it is about, part of it's about sex.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that fertilizes the earth, and what happens is, when you have these more water vapor condenses, you've got more rain, which fertilizes the earth, and then when the rain releases, it actually releases heat from, once the rain comes down, and it actually, there's so much solar power that's actually inside of those clouds, and from the ionization, when a storm, like a lightning strike, releases or something like that, so much, there's a lot of, half of the Earth's heat is released through rain and storms, and the other half is just heating from the sun directly. But it's so important. I mean, that is what I mean, the sun gives us water, and the sun is giving us heat. So, yeah, it's very interesting. And the final thing, I know I've like science. I'm sorry. I mean, it's all nerded out.
I love it when you nerd out like that. You're the science nerd, and I'm more of the occult nerd. So we really complement each other. But you have more of both. I really don't have the science.
Now, something interesting, I watched this on Suspicious Observers. I like him very much. I check out his news usually in the mornings before I start work. But and he's on YouTube, by the way, Suspicious Observers, and he spells his O with a zero. Anywho, he noticed an anomaly in the ionosphere, and it was right over the state of Hawaii. And right now, I mean, they just had one tropical storm after another, and now they're having issues with lava, and the volcanoes going off. I mean, the whole South Pacific, and actually Japan too. I mean, that whole area has been very unstable lately. But what that means with an anomaly in the ionosphere is that basically there's like a laser beam of electrically charged particles zooming and focusing on the Hawaiian Islands right now. And that causes, I mean, that is a perfect conductor for all of this. There is something called a global electrical circuit around the Earth, and it's really our whole universe is an electric universe, and it's all connected. And so that area right around the Hawaiian Islands is extremely electrically charged and getting all kinds of energy right now, more than anywhere else on the planet. And the Hawaiian Islands, many of you may know this, but it's used to be Lemuria. The Hawaiian Islands, New Zealand, that kind of whole area that's split apart, and Lemuria sank as the water rose. But that area is considered the heart of Gaia, the heart of the Earth. And right now it's getting zapped with high energy particles by her mates. The Earth is getting this. Gaia is receiving these high energy particles from the sun in her heart center. So
Yeah. Now I'm gonna, as you were saying that, I was drawing and just nerding out with my esoteric knowledge. Let me make another note here. Okay. Um, when I was talking about Heros Gamos that popped into my head, which is the highest divine sexual union, and when you were saying, that the sun and the earth are having sex, that is what they're doing, because they're creating paradise on earth. Within ourselves, we know through esoteric knowledge that, and I just have to say real quick, I'm kind of losing my voice because of ascension symptoms that I'm going to talk about later. So if I sound crackly or I start to sound like a man, I apologize. But we have within ourselves ego, which in the big realm of the universe would represent the sun, which is going on with the solar flares, which is the highest aspect. Then within ourselves, you have the soul, which in a macrocosm equivalent is the earth. Okay, so within ourselves, ego and soul merge into the heart, and into our heart, which is the first part of the completion of the magnum opus. That when that happens, you create, you give birth to your Christed self. Okay, so the same thing that's happening within us, within our personal ascension process, is essentially happening right before our eyes in the as above, so below. The sun and the earth are having sex. That's why Hawaii is having these amazing issues, and we have some friends in Hawaii. That are right in the thick of it. So we kind of get up to date information from our personal friends, and they're really getting hammered there. And the reason why is because the sun and the earth are having sex, and ego and soul within our little area is merging in Hawaii. So that's why Hawaii is getting hammered, and that's wonderful. I'm sorry for the people who live there, but you live in the heart of the planet. You're in the heart of Gaia. So that I would love to be there right now. I just can't imagine
what.
what.
Must be so awesome.
Can you imagine what that would feel like? You're actually experiencing the ego and the soul of our Gaia merging in the heart.
Yep. It would be hell in 3D, but awesome in every other sense.
I get, it just makes me so, I'm like tearing up. It makes me so emotional. What a blessing. What a blessing.
Well, they're there helping to hold this space.
Yes, I have one of my friends, Helene Lipson, who's she has her own show. She's a very good psychic astrologer. And she moved there for the specific purpose that it's Lemuria, and she had to go through a lot to move there, but she knew she was supposed to be there. And she knew the timing that she was supposed to be there, and now, I was really sad when she moved, and I knew she went there for a higher purpose. I get it now. I bless you, Helene, and that's why she's there. And can you imagine what that would do for your own personal transformation? I mean, my goodness. We all get the benefits of that, but it's starting there now, and then it will, it'll pass along to all of us. But it's currently, as we speak right now, that's what's happening.
That's right.
So that was my little nerd out.
Yes, it's very big times, very important times right now, and there's a reason that this energy has been allowed to come through and hasn't been blocked. The sun hasn't blocked it with its CMEs. No. And the scientists, I saw it on Discovery News, are like, it's very, very rare when there's no CME with these solar flares.
Right.
No, that's because it's a combination. You have to have that cosmic energy this time, and the photon belt needs to continue doing its work, and the sun is getting its radiation through. Target on Hawaii.
And we are also protected by what the left brain scientists call dark matter, dark energy, but those of us like me that are more balanced, we know it's ether, it's the fifth element. And that
That's
is
right.
coming in, and that's what's protecting us right now.
That's right. That's preventing the CMEs from the sun too.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into all the information about the fifth element of ether. We have a blog for our radio show. It actually started out as my personal blog called Rising Frequencies, which is how we got the name of this show from my last name and from my blog. And I just started this blog, I guess probably like, oh geez, like a month before we started the show. And I've written 2 articles on ether. I can visually see it coming in, and I have personal experiences with it on the astral. And I've had these experiences, like I've said in the first show, since I'm a walk-in. Since well, I've had them my whole life, but I just started writing about them in 2008, and then came out of my shell like a month ago. Um, so if you want more information on ether and how that is relating to the sun, in my last blog I talked about nuclear energy, which is also coming into play in this, and it's nuclear fusion, not fission, and that's what is a component of the sun. And I had an experience with that on the astral, and it's all starting to come together. It's you know it's science. It's quantum alchemy, and it's amazing, and we're actually living it. So, take note of these times we're in, because this has never happened before, and it's not going to happen again. So. That's why it's standing room only for bodies here. This is it. We're living it. Um, One of the side effects that I would like to discuss are ascension symptoms, because a lot of people are really suffering. The awake people, believe it or not, really aren't as suffering as much as the ones that are asleep. A lot of them are losing their mind, and they're having a difficult time. So if you have family members that are asleep, cut them some slack. We're all going to the same place. There is no competition in spirituality. We're all going to merge back with Source when you vibrate with the frequency of Source, which before I go into ascension symptoms, I would like to go back to basics 101 with the definition of ascension. In the old days, in the ancient days, they didn't really use the word ascension. It was just your path, your path going through initiate, adept, magnus. It was like brushing your teeth. It was just something that you worked on every day. Nowadays, that's not the case, and we have catchphrases, which ascension being one of them. Ascension is simply moving from one vibration to a higher one, moving from one state of consciousness to another one, which is higher. That's all it is. This is what Gaia is doing right now with the Hero Gamos union of Sun and Earth merging in Hawaii. Gaia is ascending, going to a higher frequency. That's the planetary ascension, and then we have our own personal ascension, which is we are doing the same thing. We are attempting to merge ego and soul. That's why you can't cut out your ego. You have to make friends with your ego, because the 3 upper chakras, three lower chakras merge together into our heart, which is what Gaia is doing right before our eyes. However, this can make someone feel uncomfortable. What happens is your soul light has a frequency. Your body has a frequency that's separate. When you combine those in your heart, that is your total frequency. That's like your diploma. That's how you determine whether you graduate and you leave here. If you die consciously, you have that frequency to leave this universe. If you don't, there is no shame in that. You just continue right now a different 3D experience. Not on this planet, this school is closing, but you'll go someplace else where you will continue another 3D experience, and you'll continue your journey. That's why I hate spiritual competition, because there is no competition. You only compete with the person in the mirror, because we're all going to the same place. We are ultimately all going to merge with Source. No one will be left behind. It's just some of our brothers and sisters just aren't as far on the path, and there is nothing wrong with that.
Right, and some are further on the path.
My gosh, yeah.
A lot are.
A lot are. A lot are farther than they know. And the reason being is their bodies are not vibrating as fast as they should be. And if you're really suffering from ascension symptoms, that's essentially why. We have solar flares coming in. And if you're doing your inner alchemy work, which most people that are awake are, well, you're concentrating on your light, and your light frequency is going up. But you need to also concentrate on your body. And if this doesn't happen, your body will kind of freak out, and it needs to make more room for the light. So, and this is a health thing that as a healer, and from the healing school I've gone to, this is where I have learned this knowledge. Before you feel better, you feel worse. Because as you bring more light in your body, believe it or not, you're getting rid of viruses and bacteria that have been in there for many, many years. All illnesses start from emotions. So with all those years that the majority of us were awake, because let's face it, most people aren't awake as teenagers. Like a lot of the teenagers are nowadays. We did kind of stupid stuff in our younger years. We pushed the emotions down. Most of us were taught to be seen and not heard, and so since childhood we have been pushing these emotions down, and they actually form viruses and bacteria that don't leave your body. Most of them will attach themselves to your spinal column, so there are blockages for your Kundalini experience. They also will, anger vibrates with your liver, goes into your liver, and fear vibrates with your kidney. So, you'll have all that stuff in your kidney, grief in your lungs, stress, depression, those kinds of things can go into your gut. And the list just goes on and on and on. And then you have your whole endocrine system that's affected as well. So as you bring more light, it wants to get rid of these viruses and bacteria. You will experience flu symptoms, but you haven't caught the flu from, let's say, touching a flu virus on your desk, and maybe, let's say, something incredibly gross as licking your fingers. That is, you're putting a virus from something outside of your body into your body. That actually makes you sick. And if you look at your aura, you will have a sick-looking aura. If you're having ascension symptoms and your body is getting rid of dormant viruses and bacteria, which is the majority of people's issues, you can go to a healer or a friend that's very good at looking at auras. And I would suggest someone who knows your aura and knows what you look like when you're healthy. They can look at you and just say, no, you're not sick. You're getting rid of stuff. You're getting rid of dormant bacteria and viruses, but you'll feel just like you have the flu or a headache or heart palpitations. The list goes on, but you're not actually sick. So
that's right. You're fighting it on an energetic level.
You are. So my best advice right now is to really find someone that can read auras and knows you, so that it just kind of helps. When you feel like you have the flu, is it from the solar flares, or am I really sick? However, regardless if it is energetic or if it's a physical illness, the symptoms feel the same. And as a holistic practitioner, I can tell you 100%, you need to treat them the same way. And you need to, the first thing you do is you raise your body's physical vibration. The mystics knew in ancient times when you started your path, your, initiate, adept, and magnus, with that came life changes. Now, of course, they were already living life correctly physically. We don't. Most of us on the ascension path, we forget about the physicality because we're focused on being multidimensional, which is new to us. We're focusing on psychic skills, which are new to us, and we really forget about the physicality. You're supposed to be in this world and not of it, but you're still in a physical body. That's your spacesuit. That's what you use to experience touching a phone. You need that physical body, and it has to vibrate high. And I can't stress it enough. You really have to raise your body's vibration right now, or it just won't end well. You're just going to end up feeling worse and worse. And it's the same old thing that you've heard before. Eating healthy. Fast food, that's going to lower your vibration. Smoking, lower your vibration. Drinking alcohol, lower your vibration. Coffee, stimulant, that really goes into your adrenal glands and will burn them out. And, coffee really affects your whole endocrine system. So things like that will lower your vibration, and I know it kind of sucks when people hear this, because some don't want to make the physical changes. But right now, with the energy we're in, you either change your physical habits or they're gonna
be changed for you.
Yeah.
I smoked when I was young, when I was in my 20s, and then I started getting so sick from it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, ugh. I would get nauseous and ill, and I think my vibration, my body just couldn't handle it anymore, and so it just rejected it. And I think that's what will happen you're just going to get sick if you start, like some people, like even with red meat and things like that. And I'm not trying to say red meat. I still eat red meat, but I'm saying some people, if it just doesn't work with you and you're still doing, you're going to start getting,
it's balance.
It's going to make you sick.
It's balance. And and the difficult thing is, because all of our bodies are starting to vibrate faster. I mean, right now, if you're in a physical body, and even if you're not doing inner alchemy, you're vibrating faster, because you're experiencing this Heros Gamos union of heaven and earth, with the sun and the earth merging in Hawaii right now. So you're going to start vibrating like a tuning fork, even if you're asleep. So if you have someone who has really rotten physicality lifestyle choices at the moment, they're going to get sick. The people who are truly asleep, that they just have zero spirituality, and they are using hardcore drugs and alcohol and junk food, and I'm talking about people who just absolutely don't get it. We know who they are. I'm not saying this in judgment. Because the planet is increasing in vibration, and because their light is increasing in their body, the body will reach a point, and I can see this with my astral eyes. The body can no longer connect to, I'm sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice. The body can no longer connect to Gaia, to the heart of Gaia, because Gaia's heart, with this Heros Gamos union, is increasing in vibration at a rate that I can't even explain to you how quickly it is. If your physical body cannot keep up with that vibration, it's like two frequencies that will not touch. They have to touch. Your body's frequency has to touch the frequency of Gaia, or guess what happens? It shuts off. Yeah. It unplugs. Because if you can hold up your right hand up really, really high and hold up your left hand really, really low, your right hand represents the heart of Gaia. Your left hand represents the vibration of a person who's desperately asleep and has really poor lifestyle changes. And your hands, if you move them on a linear line, they don't touch. And they can't touch. So that's why a lot of people are dying right now. There's like
in Exodus.
Andrea and I were talking about that. That it's like a Exodus. People are leaving the planet, and it's simply because now, of course, now there are people like Dolores Cannon, bless her, that passed away. There are spiritual people that are choosing to leave, but there are many bodies on this planet that just cannot connect to Gaia anymore because it's increasing too quickly. And that's just a fact. So those of us that are asleep, what can we do to our bodies are not going to shut off because we are awake. We're at that point. But what do we do not to feel so yucky? You know, because you shouldn't have to suffer when you're going through this. Some simple things you can do besides the obvious, you know, exercise, yoga, Pilates, yada, yada, yada. Essential oils. Essential oils are amazing because they come from plants. They come from Gaia. It's the closest thing to your blood plasma. It goes right into your body. They really, really raise your body's frequency permanent. I mean, once you start using essential oils, it rises up. When I will occasionally drink coffee, I will put on my oils because I want.
That's right. You have to counteract it.
Because I want, because I can see it in myself, and I want to counteract it. And even though the oils do raise you permanently, you know, you want to keep that going up. So if I drink coffee, I know I'm going to bring it down a little bit. So I use my oils to counterbalance that. And reflexology is wonderful. Acupuncture, acupressure, cranial sacral, myofascial release, meditation. I can't harp enough on meditation. Supplements, and a lot of people don't believe in supplements, and as a holistic practitioner, I can tell you for a fact that even if you eat organic, which I do, the soil is not the same. It's not the same as it was 300 years ago because, you know, I hate to go down the conspiracy trail, but it is because of chemtrails. It's because of Monsanto with all the
over farming and
over farming and the crap that they the pesticides. I mean, don't even get me started on that. Yeah. But it is what it is. And our soil is depleted from the minerals. Okay, you have essential minerals. They're called trace minerals that you need in your body, and you can go on Amazon and search trace minerals. Standard Products has a wonderful supplement called trace minerals, and that, you know, you need to get those essential minerals. You cannot get them from your food. You just can't.
Yes, I have started taking fulvic acid, FULVI, V as in Victor, IC. There's fulvic and humic, I think, acid, and there are two things that used to be in the soil, you know, and you could get them from root vegetables and things that were grown in the soil. And now they're only available in certain parts of the world where it hasn't been over farmed or, you know, destroyed with chemicals and stuff. And I've been taking that because I have problems with foot cramps and I'm hypothyroid and blah. So my body was indeed depleted of minerals. But since I've been taking that stuff, I've been taking it for a few weeks now, and I haven't had a foot cramp. I used to have them almost every single night, and I haven't had one since then.
Yeah. Magnesium, if you're having like foot cramps, I mean, because I had thyroid issues as well, and I would wake up in the morning, I couldn't stretch because this is so embarrassing. I mean, as an ex-dancer, this was like a kiss of death for me. I couldn't stretch in the morning without pulling a muscle. Holy crap. And it was because I was depleted of minerals, and that was before I started taking supplements. You know, or really good supplements. As a dancer, I always had to take supplements to be able to dance, you know, 15 hours a week, but they weren't really good. And now I'm pickier, and I've been studying holistic health since 2007, so I know what to take. And now it's same thing, you know, I don't have the issues anymore. It's amazing.
Yeah, it also helps with the alkaline levels because I was also having issues with acidity, too much acidity with stress and in my tummy, blah, blah, blah. I'm also Libra. Libras tend to have issues with acidity.
Yes, they do.
And The fulvic acid helps with that as well, in addition to lemonade instead of orange juice. By the way, I mean, it just seems like they both be citric acid. No, lemonade, real lemonade, not fake, aspartame
Mm-hmm.
lemonade, is alkaline.
Mm-hmm.
Oranges are citric acid, and lemons are alkaline. So yeah, you just pay attention to what you
Yeah.
put in your body, because it's literally the fuel for you. And there's plenty of that stuff that tastes good too, and you can get both things. I love avocados. I have an avocado in the morning and some lemon juice, and you can also add apple cider vinegar to your,
Ugh,
take it.
yeah.
That's not so fabulous, but take it really fast.
Well, make sure you're mixing that with distilled water,
Yes,
because
mix
it's
it
not
with water.
it's not good for the enamel of your teeth. Apple
Yeah.
cider vinegar, if you just take it like a shot, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
You need to mix it with your water. And another thing that I want to throw out there, just getting on my healing tangent, to raise your body's vibration, is probiotics. And this relates into what we're going to discuss after our break, which is the solar plexus, which is directly related to your gut, your digestive system. Your 70 to 80% of your immunity, your immune system, and we all know autoimmune disease right now is rampant, especially among people that are waking up. And a lot of that has to do with your solar plexus. You're trying to clear issues, and you're bringing all your light in, and it's stirring the pot. And when you have a lot of inflammation, it's in your gut, leaky gut syndrome. Inflammation, cancer, it lowers your alkalinity. All your really bad diseases are basically inflammation. The best thing you could do for that is a probiotic and a prebiotic, because that will give your digestive system the food that it needs. Those little tiny bacteria, it's like a whole world of these little microorganisms that need to be fed, and not with junk food.
They're just like little S's,
They
We're
are.
like they're the microcosm of our macrocosm.
And believe it or not, they are sentient. Okay,
Yeah.
they are alive, and when they aren't fed properly, just like when you're not fed properly, do you get cranky? Do you get irritable? Do you get depressed? Yes. So these little sentient bacteria that you need in your digestive system get upset when they aren't fed properly, because you're basically starving them. Probiotics are now becoming, and you can research this, the new Prozac, because they're finally waking up to the point that there is that brain gut connection. And when you're starving your poor little microorganisms in your body, and they get sad and depressed, that comes from your gut, that goes right to your brain, and you are depressed. Why are you depressed? Because your gut is depressed. And it's the truth. Your gut is, and it's true. So when you feed them properly, they're happy. Your autoimmune will go away. You boost up your immune system, and then you have a happy gut. When you have a happy gut, you have a happy brain. When you have a happy brain, you have a happy personality. And it's true. That raises your vibration immensely just by taking a probiotic and a prebiotic. I would suggest finding a good company that sells a separate probiotic and a separate prebiotic. That's just my practitioner advice. Everyone, and I tell all my clients this, you have to do what's best for you. You have to listen to your gut. If you feel like your gut's in tangles, or it's like, my stomach's in knots. How many times do we say that? Well,
Exactly.
That's why if you take a good probiotic and a prebiotic, you're going to untangle those. But the biggest thing is, do not go on a guilt trip, because we're all on this journey together. You're going to do what you're supposed to do with the knowledge that you have, and everyone's doing the best that they can. So don't try to force, and I tell my clients this all the time, don't force life changes. Let them come naturally. You will naturally do the right things. And it's just weird how the universe, especially right now, is just going to kind of take over your body. If you think you're in control of your own body, you're not. You're not. A Gaia is. and no guilt. If you're eating red meat, so what? Eventually, I promise you're going to stop, because your body's going to say, quit it. If you're smoking, no guilt, because eventually your body's going to kick your butt, and it's just going to say, I don't want this anymore. Please stop doing this to me. Because if you have guilt, it's just good. That alone is going to lower your vibration. So just do the best you can.
Yeah, the guilt is worse.
Yeah.
The guilt will hurt you worse than the smoking.
If you have vegetarian friends, and if you're still eating red meat, don't let them guilt you into anything. You're on your own journey. You are your own master, and just do the best you can. Right now, I'm just trying to throw some extra seeds so that, you might be able to do a little bit better when you're ready.
Another good thing is oil pulling.
Yes.
I heard a physician who actually became an ordained minister because the things that he was prescribing were not FDA approved, so he had to become an ordained minister in order to prescribe this.
That's why I did.
Yep.
That's part of the reasons, yeah.
He was on, I can't remember his name, but he was on Coast to Coast with George Norrie, and he said that there is a ton of bacteria. A ton of it is actually hidden also in your teeth. Mm-hmm. And he said oil pulling is wonderful for your to clear that from
Yeah, I just did that today. I do that every
I've been
way.
doing it too.
Coconut oil is really good.
Coconut oil. And what you do is you just take it, I just do a teaspoon and put it in my mouth, and you swish it around, and unrefined coconut oil is the best. And you swish it around your mouth, just kind of hold it in there, get it through your teeth, and you hold it in for about 20 minutes. And then
you can't do this wrong. The only thing you can do is swallow it. You don't want to swallow the toxins that you're pulling out of your gums. That's the only thing that you can do that would be really bad for you, because your tummy is not going to be happy if you swallow what you should be spitting out. So you really can't do oil pulling wrong. What I do, and I just did this today when I came home from the gym, is I do dry brushing, which is very good for your lymphatic system. It gets your juices flowing, goes through your whole endocrine system, and so I do my oil pulling while I'm doing my dry brushing before I get in the shower. So I kind of multitask.
What's dry brushing? Tell us.
Is when you take a stiff brush and you start down at the bottom. Now, this is another thing you can YouTube, and there's people that say you have to do so many strokes, and you're supposed to stroke from the bottom up to your heart, and from your top stroke down towards your heart, which is fine. As esoteric and occult as I am, and I know, ego and soul merge in the heart, and technically they're correct. I just brush myself. I'm not gonna nerd out and make this left brain. I follow my intuition, and I just brush my skin vigorously and just get the juices flowing. I concentrate around my ankles, because that is a lymphatic system in reflexology. Bottoms of my feet, work up through my calves, my legs, my tummy, and then I go into my hands. You want to do the palms of your hands, because there's lots of chakras. Well, not big chakras, but little energy points on your hands. For anyone who's a healer knows that, and that really gets them going, really recharges them. And then I do my hands, I do my arms, I do my chest. Can't really get to my back too much, and I do my neck. I don't do my face, because the dry brush is a little bit too much for your facial area. If I massage my face every day to smooth the stress out, and there are pressure points on your face for your sinuses and stuff like that, and I won't go into all that, but that's a shiatsu massage for your face is also very good, pushes those toxins out and further increases your vibration. So basically, any little change that you can make in your lifestyle makes a huge difference. So have fun with it. I mean, we're not here to suffer, even though it kind of feels like we are. You're here to have fun. Enjoy physicality. I mean, these bodies are amazing, and everybody wants one. It's standing room for our body. So have fun. Create your own physical rituals, and no guilt. Have fun. If you do, like Bashar says, if you're following your joy and you're doing something in joy, and it's going to raise your vibration more. If you're just like, oh, I have to do this dry brushing.
I should do this. I should do that. I shouldn't do this. Don't shit yourself. Don't ever do that. Yeah, that'll just make it. I did that when I first started.
I know. You got to be like a kid and make this stuff
just try, because it's like, oh, this is exciting. If whatever you feel drawn to do and feel like it would be neat. Like, I love coconut. Love it. So that doing the oil pulling with coconut, I was like, all right. I thought it was neat,
And eat the coconut oil. Coconut oil is the best thing for inflammation in your body. And if you hate the taste of coconut, I wouldn't do it. You're probably not going to be able to gag
you can do sesame oil. If you don't like coconut oil, you can also do sesame oil too.
You can eat that. But eat the coconut oil, but have fun. You have to have fun. I'm all about the fun. Instead of all about the bass, that song, All About the Bass, I'm all about the fun.
Right. Because the whole point of this is to make your life more joyful. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the whole ascension thing, it's not, you're ascending to a new frequency, but that frequency is better than the old frequency.
Yes,
so
it's all about love.
If you don't happier.
If you don't love what you're doing, don't do it. If you don't love dry brushing, don't do it.
Right. Exactly.
Because then you're not going to be in the right vibration to do it anyway.
Exactly. So if you don't want to quit smoking, and if you're like, then don't. No. There's a very spiritual lady that I know who's awesome who doesn't want to quit smoking. So, when it's time, and the only reason I was drawn to quit myself because I got sick. And I couldn't, it became more enjoyable not to smoke than to smoke. So I'm like, all right, I'm stopping now. It's about time, or I'm going to end up in bed my whole life. So.
Yeah, there's nothing that will lower your vibration faster than I coulda, I shoulda, I woulda.
Yeah, being critical of yourself. Yes. And that's actually a solar plexus issue.
It is. And we're here to combine mind, body, and spirit. Mind, your thoughts. No guilt. Be in the love. Be in the joy. Your body, well, we just spent a half an hour talking about that. Mind, body, and spirit. Your spirit is where most people do their work. That's what's going on with the sun, and that's your inner work. So I think everyone's doing, as a collective consciousness, I think we're doing great.
I do too. And I have to say, I feel like we're moving so much faster now than we were. I mean, and I think all these solar flares and stuff are quickening as well. And I feel myself. I've had so much more energy. My computer clock is supposed to be set to the actual time, right? Because it connects to the internet and then pulls that with Microsoft.
Yeah.
I reset it just last week, and it is now 8 minutes fast again. I'm like, how the heck did that happen?
8?
Yeah. Number 8 minutes. I know.
Infinity to infinity and beyond.
Yeah. And I can't keep my phone clock is slower, and this computer, and then I remote into other people's computers because I work remotely, and I remote into the office, and I go into those computers, and they're like a completely different time now too. It's very odd that everything used to sync, and now nothing syncs anymore. And my computer with me zooming along, I feel like I've impacted somehow my poor little baby computer.
You're unsyncing your
I'm
computer.
unsyncing. I'm moving it with me.
It needs.
Sorry, it's already 4:00 here. I'm off work now.
I know yeah, exactly. Your computer needs to rise to the higher level. You need to do the ascension process on your computer. Oh gosh, I'll just be so glad when we start to use our inner technology, and we're using our inner computer because,
our organic technology.
Because I'm such a esoteric geek that I can use my inner technology so much better than I can use this computer that's right here that I can touch. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so pathetic, and I sound like such a Star Wars, Harry Potter, Juju, I don't know, crazy person, but it's true. I can use my inner technology than the stuff that's sitting right in front of me. If I didn't have you, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do.
The left-brained nerd.
Yeah, so I'll be so glad when we get rid of all this outer technology and we just go with the inner stuff. Who knows when that's going to happen? Hopefully it's in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's my. I want that too. I know. I've heard that the guy wants it slower because she wants.
I
she
disagree with that.
But I would like for it to be in my lifetime. I mean, wouldn't she want everyone to? I can see how she wants to minimize Earth changes and doesn't want her children to be hurt or anything like that.
But she's so connected to the bodies here, and
if the bodies can do it and they want it,
and
then
apparently they can, or we wouldn't be going as fast as we are right now. I'm just going to go out on a limb. And this is just from how I see energy and timelines with my astral eyes. I believe we have jumped so many timelines to such a positive timelines. Our bodies just aren't the same that they were last year or even 6 months ago. We can handle so much more, and we are connected directly to Gaia. Gaia's going to go as fast as we can handle, and I really believe it's because we are in the worst Iron Age that we've ever been in. We're, like I said, we're beginning our 5th cycle. Mm-hmm. When we ended the first 26,000 year cycle, and this knowledge is stuff I brought in as a walk-in, so you could take it with a grain of salt, it doesn't matter. 26,000 years, galactic year. Then you move from that Iron Age into the next Golden Age. Well, you don't begin the second one at the same frequency that you began the first one, because the goal here was to make things harder. Yes, we got screwed up more, but it was to continue to pull away farther from source. Right. Because this is where you graduate from. You don't graduate from the Pleiades, you graduate from Earth, because this is the hardest place. So then you did 26,000 years around on the second cycle. So now you're in the Iron Age of the second cycle. So now Gaia's going to now go into the third Golden Age. Yes, third Golden Age. That is not going to be the same as the first one, and it's going to be a little bit lower than the second one. So then you went all the way around. Now you're in the third Iron Age, which is pretty crappy. Not as crappy as it is now. And so then you go from the third Iron Age into the fourth Golden Age, which is our current that we just ended. We went all the way around 26,000 years. Come up. Now we're into the worst Iron Age out of 4 cycles. Not only is it the worst Iron Age, but we had unforeseen complications, is how I like to put the conspiracy things, because they're facts. We were screwed with. Things got messed up even worse. So not only are we in the worst Iron Age that we were supposed to be in with duality, we were supposed to be at the hardest, but things kind of got out of hand. And it
opened up, and others that vibrated as low as we did, as we got down to,
they said,
interfered with us. They're like, hey, you're reachable now. We're going to come and get you.
We're going to join your party.
That's right.
We're
if only they would ascend with us. I have heard that the reptilian, or who was it, the raptors, are on board ascending with us. We're trying to piggyback off of the ascension with humanity.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
I know. Anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, anyway.
Moving along.
So we're in the worst Iron Age. We're and now we ended that cycle, and now we're desperately trying to get back to something better. Gaia has been through this as well. Humanity, especially those that have been incarnating here for all the cycles. There are actually souls that have been here since the very first one. They are your highest vibrating people that are currently in this ascension cycle that of our current 26,000 years that we have just ended. They are your highest vibrating people. They want out. They want it done. They want to rip the Band-Aid off, and actually they're in the majority. They really are in the majority. They are your ancient astronauts. They're, and that's pretty much most of the people. We're the gods that we've been waiting for. And as the collective consciousness starts to vibrate higher, Gaia is going to go with her babies. There's no mother that's going to say, nope, you're going to have to wait. If the collective consciousness of humanity can handle it, which I do feel they can, and it's apparent that they can, that's why I feel we're going faster. So that's just my 2 cents. It's what I see happening. I feel like what was supposed to take 100 years to happen is not going to take 100 years. It's not going to take so many generations.
No, I agree with you. Just from what I perceive and feel myself and in my own life, it is. Spiral time is no joke. It's really spiraling, and we are just moving to such a fast, we're so much higher vibrating than we were before. I mean, I went to a potluck in my neighborhood, and I spoke with 2 of my neighbors, and I live in kind of a retirement community, and I live in Texas, and I figured some of these guys would be kind of, Christian and very conservative. I had one guy tell me that he stopped doing these medications for diabetes and instead maintains his health with healthy eating habits and yoga. He started doing yoga. He said he's the only man in his yoga class. He's like 64 years old, and he's like, that has done wonders for me. I had another man tell me he just had all these surgeries, and he was in and out of the hospital constantly. He weighed 300 pounds and this and that. And he said, finally I just decided I'm going to get control of my life, and I'm going to control my body. And I started eating right, and I just decided to do it, and I did it. So both of these men, within like an hour time span of me talking to people in my neighborhood, are they're so much higher vibrating than I ever expected. I mean, they're like following principles of the golden age, taking your power back, controlling. They both have basically overthrown the medical, because elderly people are really beaten up, with the medical stuff, and both of them took control of their lives and started trying different approaches and yoga and taking your power back and figuring out and getting in touch with your body. I mean, I really do think it's zooming along.
I do.
Not just the bad stuff that you see in the news and whatever. I mean, I've seen some really good, neat things happen too. So
I just want to say one more thing, and then we'll take a break, because I'm always the time checker, because I notice we're at 1 hour, and I'm sure people are going to want to get some tea and run to the loo. But when we're talking about physicality and talking about your friends and dealing with allopathic medicine, what really gets my goat is working in the alternative medicine industry as I do. I hate the word alternative medicine, because allopathic is the real alternative. We are returning not to alternative medicine, we're returning to ancient knowledge.
To real medicine. Getting away from the fake medicine.
Yeah, we're returning to ancient medicine. We're returning to ancient knowledge, esoteric, all of the holy sciences. That was around first.
To the natural way instead of the returning to organic instead of inorganic. Yeah.
Penicillin just came out at the turn of the century. That
I
that that was our biggest downfall.
I'm allergic to penicillin, by the way. I think it's a sign.
Well, good. Yeah, I'm glad you are. But anyway, that was just my little 2 cents on my holistic rampage. All right, so I think we should probably take a break.
Okay.
And so we'll start our music, and we'll see you at the end of the break.
Okie doke.
Alrighty.
You are lighting a million. You're bringing hope to everything you're touching now. Share stories from in and out of time. From this view, I'll see no distance. Only wind playing with the sky. And if you break into that part of me, I'll feel nothing, and we'll leave nothing undone. And as I become you, you become too. From this view, we'll see no distance, only wind playing with the sky. And he says, I am the sun. And you are the one. You are letting a million. You're bringing hope to everything you're touching now. And as I become you, you become too. And he says, I am the sun. And you are the one. I am the soul. And you are the one.
Careful now, I'm ready to feel alive. Letting go of all that I feel inside. Let's lose fear and never want it again. I'll be your friend.
Okay.
Right. Oh, I need to say who these fine folks were who sang the
Yes.
songs.
Because you pick the best songs that are just so relevant. She's our maestro.
Yes. Yay. And these are up and coming bands, so you may not have heard of them before, but I think their music's pretty cool. Um, the first song was I Am the Sun by Merva, and the second song was Spark by Final Round. So there we go.
Very good. Well, before we actually dive into the solar plexus chakra, I really want to kind of touch base again on the energy work that we did on the astral with the Ebola virus, because if anyone has kind of taken notice, in my opinion, it's not as prevalent. It seems to kind of lost its punch.
Yes, I agree. And it used to be, because I would check the lovely conspiracy theory forum. I used to post and always got beat up. It's called Godlike Productions. I think I've been called a naive idiot like 50 times. But actually, they post, you can kind of keep up on the latest conspiracy theory stuff. And I always check them just to see what's happening out there, and what the conspiracy theory view of, there is a level of awakened populace. The first level, I think, of being awake is to understand that there's a conspiracy.
I agree.
Yeah, so those folks, I like to see what they're seeing. And often, they have the news in their area before it's reported on the mass media. And I don't trust the mass media at all anymore anyway. So anyway, but yeah, there used to be every single pin thread was an Ebola thread. But now I would say maybe just a quarter of them are Ebola threads. And a lot of those are, this kid said that the Ebola doctor was actually, not him, or the doctor who was accused of having Ebola. Actually, that's not the man. Or, and the nurse said that her treatment was inhumane when she was quarantined and she wasn't sick. So it's almost like, they're poking holes in the Ebola, and that whole attempt to get the United States to batten down its hatches and get us all vaccinated and quarantined and locked down and all that stuff. There's a lot of holes being poked in the dam there, even in the conspiracy group too. So the tide seems like it's turning. I don't think Ebola is going to work.
I don't either. And from a spiritual point of view, what we did last week is I came up with an exercise that we transmuted our energy, and long story short, we sent it out onto the astral level. And the reason why we did that is because, and this is a tough pill for people to swallow, and I can see this. There's other sages and mystics that can see this. When you can see energy, you cannot, and Jesus taught this too. You cannot fix something in the same energy that it exists in. So right now, yeah, if we're dealing with a 3D crappy situation, and it doesn't matter what it is, you can't fix it here. It needs to be fixed at a higher level, at the us above level, with the principle of correspondence, and that of course is the astral level. The powers that be, or the powers that were, whichever word you want to use, they know this. They know how to create. They know how to create on the astral level. And it's that spark, it's that thought, it's that collective imagination, to use Lisa Harrison's term. It's true. That's where this is created. It's created in the astral. And then it filters down into physicality. And then we have an actual virus, which is man-made, because the CDC owns 70 patents. Just had to put that in there. So that's what we have. But you can't fix it here. You have to go to the higher level. So that's why we did the energy work on the astral. And basically right now, you can't completely get rid of that. What we did was to change its polarity and to make it easier for us to deal with it here. It's basically like, okay, thank you, powers that be or powers that were. You created this a long time ago, stuck it into our matrix. We're not going to question why it's there. We know it's there. We want to say thank you, but we're going to raise to a higher frequency, and we're going to take control of that, and we're going to use it for our purpose, not your purpose. So we are repurposing something that's already there that in fact has a negative polarity, and we're going to change it. That's, not to toot our own horns with everyone who did that work. I kind of feel that's what we did. I read an article, and I wish I could give the author credit, where I said on the other show, episode number 2, I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to come about. I knew it wouldn't disappear. I knew it would be repurposed, but I just didn't know how. And I read this amazing article that someone wrote exactly on that, where the author said that this Ebola virus is being used for a new purpose. I swear that's what they said.
Wow.
Yeah, and I could just I have so much stuff coming across my news feed, that and I should have printed it out so I could have read it and given the author credit, because I could just kiss them, because it was in direct correlation with our conversation, with our energy work, that the new purpose that it's being used for is to wake up people to alternative medicine, because even your asleep people don't want to be vaccinated. More people are realizing that vaccinations are the enemy, and they, whether they realize the conspiracy with the Ebola virus to force people to be vaccinated, whether they realize that or not, that's not the point. They just don't want another vaccination. So now they're then left with, okay, they don't know this is man-made. They don't know all the stuff that we know. All they know is there's a virus that could come after my family. What am I going to do? Allopathic medicine is not going to help you at all, because they are in cahoots with the pharmaceutical companies, which is another rabbit hole that I know way too well. So they're turning to alternative and returning to the ancient medicine. And that's a wonderful thing. So I kind of feel that if anything comes out of this Ebola virus, that if it does turn that way and we get more power in my industry, in the ancient medicine industry, that's going to help bring down the pharmaceutical companies. It's because they're going to be starved. People aren't going to want their chemicals anymore.
Exactly. I mean, there are just on that Godlike Productions again. I saw, I think it was yesterday, when they said colloidal silver kills the Ebola virus.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
And there's a big dispute about that. Is colloidal silver antibacterial and antiviral? It is. It's both. I have used it for 15 years. I've used it. My youngest son had a mono, and me being who I am, I used colloidal silver. And then he went back to the doctor, and the doctor was floored. He couldn't believe how quickly this virus left the body, because he's like, well, we can't give you an antibiotic because it's viral, and you understand that. And they don't know what I do for a living, so I just shake my head, fine. And continued with the silver. And mononucleosis is the Epstein-Barr virus. It's a virus. A virus is a virus. I don't care if it's Ebola. I don't care what name it is. It's viral, and it is a wave, and it's a frequency. The frequency and the wave of a virus is different than that of a bacteria. It's just simple science. It just is. It's chemistry. It's really alchemy. So yes, colloidal silver is antiviral. Am I telling people that that's the cure? No, I'm not saying that. I am saying that it is one of the possibilities for people to use if there are people who are actually contracting this virus, which I'm on the fence about. I won't even go down that rabbit hole. But there are many herbs and essential oils, clove oil. I can go on and teach a whole class about essential oils alone that are antiviral and antibacterial. Clove is the highest. on the ORAC scale for anti-everything, antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal, parasites, you name it. Clove oil kills it. So there are options, and there's so many options for viruses that the allopathic industry just has their head in the sand because they are in cahoots with the pharmaceuticals. So, yes, colloidal silver does help. However, and oh boy, okay, I have some friends on Facebook that are not very spiritual, but they're my high school buddies. And so this one girl, she was posting about Ebola and colloidal silver and yada yada, and this other girl got one. Well, then I couldn't keep my mouth shut on that thread. I went into holistic practitioner mode and was just colloidal silver, yada yada yada. And this one girl comes in and she goes, "Well, I work for the CDC, and I can tell you for a fact that colloidal silver does not kill the virus. It only slows it down because that's the way it was created." And I was like, "Oh,
whoa! It was created."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So right from the horse's mouth, right there. And so I did more research on it, and a virus is a virus. Now, you can't completely make a virus because it's organic, okay? And you can't patent something that's organic. So it's heavy metals. Well, colloidal silver is also detoxing. So I think people are pretty safe with colloidal silver, and it does slow it down. Silver is a mineral. It's a substance, not really a mineral. It's a metal. It's a metal that needs to be in your body. Silver and gold, you call it Jesus juice. You need frankincense, myrrh, gold, and you also need silver. If you keep silver in your body, I take a little teaspoon, every day just to keep that in my body. You raise your vibration, and it's there, and it's supposed to be there, and it'll fight whatever comes down the path. So
that's right.
Yeah.
The ancient Egyptians or the Greeks, or they used to take a piece of silver and put it in their drinking containers, and just keep that in it would keep the bacteria out of what they were drinking, wine, I guess, and I don't know if they drank milk, but that type of stuff would, yeah. And by the way, we had another X flare just today, just saying. A few hours ago.
A few hours ago, while we were on the air. We've been on the air for over an hour. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. But, with that old saying of being born with a silver spoon in your mouth, well, that's because people who were rich in the old days that ate off of silver, they didn't get sick.
That's right.
It's also like if you happen to have silver in your home and you eat off of it, it's okay, I can't, this is a word I always screw up. Microbiograble. How do you say that?
Microbial?
There you go. So,
antimicrobial, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, they didn't exactly have really good dishwashing abilities like we have right now, and it didn't really matter if you didn't get all the germs off the actual silver, because silver kills the viruses and it kills the bacteria. Ancients used to also take a silver nail and stick it into a piece of fruit, usually an apple, and an apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's where that came from, because they would put a silver nail in an apple, and then that's how they got their silver in their body, because they didn't have colloidal silver. And there's also colloidal gold, which I won't go into what that does. You can Google that, but that's also very good. So that's another thing I wanted to touch on about working in the astral. This exercise that we did, which I won't go over it right now, kind of like changed the polarity of this virus. Right now, we are in a position that the old ways are going to crumble. Their days are numbered. Gaia is vibrating faster, and is going to, that all this is going to continue. So the old systems, they just don't stand a chance because they were created in low vibrations. It's all about science. It's all about vibration. They cannot exist in a higher vibration. And I just want to say that a million times. The banking system, the political system, the pharmaceuticals, they vibrate at a low frequency. We're moving to a high frequency. They can't, they don't match. The one cannot exist within the other, and that's why they're going to crumble. So, what do? We need to create what we want to put in its place. It's going. All we, right now we can do psychic work. We can improve ourselves so that while they're crumbling, we have a happy life. So you can do the exercise that we did in episode 2. You can do that same exercise, but then create what you want. What do you want for the ideal banking system? Your energy, your chi, is your currency, because it's a frequency that goes through your body, which is a currency. What do we call money? Currency.
Yes, exactly.
Money is nothing but a physical representation of what already exists within you. You're a walking ATM machine, whether you want to believe it or not. You have your energy, which is ENERGY, which is really inner chi, INNER space CHI, prana.
Yes,
ether.
exactly.
And what does that operate at? A frequency, a current. It's an electrical current. It's a currency.
That's right.
Yeah. So we are ATM machines. So what do you want your inner chi to be your representation in this new vibration? That's what we need to really focus on, creating what we want to replace the old banking system, because we still need a banking system. There's no doubt about that. We still need a political system. We still, need the ancient medicine. So we need to be doing those things and creating these things now.
That's right. And yet you don't want to focus on what's falling apart. You want to focus on what you want to build. Focus on the positive aspect of it in this world of duality. Because the darkness, all the bad things will fall apart. What we don't want and what doesn't fit anymore is going to fall apart and go away. So if you focus on that, you're going to be sad, and you'll just and you don't want to breathe any life into it either by focusing on it, because you don't want to put your attention on things that are dying. You want to focus on stuff that is aligned with the new world, the golden age, the new way of things. And
I know.
What do you want? Put your attention there.
That's hard for people to believe, because we've been in this Iron Age, for 2,000 years. And, we have our body cell memory is of this full 26,000 year cycle. So we have a lot of genetic memory that is within our physical body. And especially for the last 2,000 years, it has not been easy. So that's what we remember. That's what we are currently feeling. And that's what the solar flares are changing in us, guys. So we're
we've had 6
it's changing our memories
since
it's
the
changing
18th of October.
Yeah, it's changing our memories.
It's like zoom, 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 zoom.
Yes.
We are getting hammered, and it's awesome.
It is awesome. And it's hard for people to understand that these things are going to crumble, and that we need to create the new thing. The faster you focus on creation, the faster the old will crumble. And I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's true. If you create on the astral level, and you continue to create, that filters down into physicality. Well, what's going to happen? You have this really high frequency of you're creating what you want, your own banking system. I'm just going to focus on that. And that comes down heavy. It's a big, high vibrating energy, and it carries a lot of weight. And man, it packs a punch. That's going to come down. And what's it going to do on the current? Little teeny tiny wimpy low frequency vibration of the banking system. It's going to crush it. It's going to crush under the weight of the higher frequency. So we need to be creating the new.
That's right.
And I'm kind of moving along a little faster because we're already at an hour and a half.
I know.
It's like, oh my gosh.
It's okay. It's so exciting right now. I mean,
Where does the time go? You know, time stands still. We just move through it like a conveyor belt, but man.
yes, and if that's the case, I'm zooming because my computer clock keeps getting faster.
As
how did it get to 4:35? what
Are you
time is it really?
serious? Like, as we speak, it's
That's what
getting
it says.
faster? Oh
Yeah,
my
gained a minute.
goodness. Oh my gosh.
Interesting.
But then I gotta talk really fast.
no. I need to
Okay.
slow down.
Last week, we went over the sacral chakra, which is very, very difficult for people to discuss in private, let alone in public. And because it's the sexy chakra, it's all about sex. And I know a lot of people were squirming, and you know who you are, when Andrea was very blunt about her experiences with sacral chakra distortion. And I'm not going to apologize for that because it's a fact. The sacral chakra, in my opinion, as a healer and as I work on a lot of people, it is the most distorted chakra because people don't know how to have sex on this planet. I'm just going to say it. They don't know how to have sex. It's not supposed to be felt in lust, and that's a big chakra. It's tantric. Eros Gamos is a very high frequency, and it's not in lust, and it's not in porn, and it's not in these yucky lower vibrations. That's all that's been here on this planet mostly.
That was the distortion of Gaia. That's why
Yes.
it was done that way, to distort her. And yeah, instead of viewing beautiful mother energy, you switch to slut. You know, women as sluts instead of women as beautiful mother energy.
Well, it's Mary Magdalene as the whore and the goddess.
Yeah, that's right.
And we've been mostly in the whore energy. And for women, it's very, very distorted. And then that energy goes out into men, and they just want to dominate it and control it, which is what happened to Andrea. She was, I mean, for her to come through and speak the way she did was amazing. And if you were squirming listening to it, then and there's no shame in that. You need to work more on your sacral. Everyone needs to work on their sacral. Everyone, you know, it's the one that's taboo. No one wants to talk about it. Let's brush that under the rug. When you brush it under the rug, you're just going to get sicker, and you're just going to, you know, if you stick your head in the sand, your bum is sticking in the air, and that is not a good position to be in. No. So you need to pull your head out of the sand and really get in and start working on your sacral. But she did a lot of healing while we were actually recording, and I can feel it coming off of her, and I'm like, you know, here we are recording. I'm like, oh my gosh. She was transmuting her own sacral chakra and getting rid of the gang rape, that energy that she was speaking about. She was getting rid of it while she was talking about it. I could feel this coming through me, and I kind of went into question mode, and I was asking her questions to try to get her to go a little bit deeper. And I tried to be as not as personal as I could have been, but I wanted her to go a little bit deeper, and I'm going to let her take over because what she experienced is a miraculous healing. So I'm going to let her go.
That is absolutely right. After that show, that very night, I had intense dreams, and I learn a lot in my dreams, and I'm taught a lot in my dreams and transmute a lot in my dreams. I always have had that happen to me, and I've been able to work through my issues in my dreams. And the night that we recorded the show, I had a dream where I was I was approached by man after man, and I'm married. My husband was in my dream too. He was somewhere else, like off somewhere, but I knew he was there. And I kept getting approached by men, and instead of like allowing them to do anything to me, or me giving it, you know, deciding to have a little wild thing in my dream, I was like, no. I was able to just walk through this And just, I felt so good about myself. And I was just like, no, thank you so much. I mean, I felt compassion for all of these men as I walked by them. But I was able to just say no. It's like, and that's exactly what I couldn't do when I was young, when I was in my teens, latter teens and stuff. I would actually feel guilty to tell a man no. I would hide, or I would have to lie about having a boyfriend or something. But in my dream, I just went through that, and I had 2 dreams in a row about that, where I was never having sex with anyone and always saying no. And I've had some really raunchy echo sex dreams with demons and all kinds of stuff. When I was younger, in my 20s, I used to have dreams about that. Blah. Anyway, but this time it was completely different. I was in charge of me and my body, as opposed to being put upon, which is what happened in my other dreams and in real life even. And so right after the show, after I talked about it, I was transmuting that, and I turned these people down, and I was heading towards my husband, and I was like, I'm going to find him, and I know he's going to be happy, and his life is going to be better because I'm going to be a better person. And it was because my husband has always stood by me. He is the one man. I did not marry poorly, I've got to say. Of all the icky boyfriends I've had in the past, I've had some that were good too, but I actually chose a man to marry who respected me and who did not treat me that way. And so I'm like, find that man, and I am now equal to that, and I deserve that. And anyway, so that was part of the dream. And then the second night, I dreamed that I was combing my hair, and I saw an ant on my head, and I'm like, what? And I've been having problems with ants biting me. I would go out because I like to walk in the yard barefoot, even though I live in hill country with lots of rocks and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I like to sun gaze, and I walk in the yard barefoot at after I get off work in the evening. And I used to get just freaking attacked by ants all the time. But I still did it. I didn't care. And so in this dream, I'm in the mirror combing my hair, and I see an ant walking on my hair, and I'm like, what? And the next thing, I see another ant and another ant. And I'm just like picking them off my hair, and like so busy getting them out of my hair. I wasn't panicked, but I was like, just go. You just got to go. It's time for you to go. Come on, ants. And I was like more annoyed and just saying, get out of here. Next thing I know, they start pouring out of my right ear. And I bend over, and I'm just like hitting my head to like shake them out. And ants just started falling out of my ear and just fell into the sink, and I washed them down. And I woke up, I was like, what the heck did that mean? And I contacted Lisa. I'm like, I just well, and that was the end of a dream where I was like turning down. It was combined because I was like saying no to all these men. Then I went into a restroom. Excuse me, I have to go to the restroom. And then there were the ants.
But tell them the really cool part.
About
Scorpio.
the Antares. Yes. All right. The Scorpio constellation. Oh yeah. I also have to tell you this. About 2 nights after that, I mean, I had dreams one after the other, and it was like a couple nights later, I took my son to a birthday party. I was turned the wrong direction. It was somewhere I had never been before. I pulled off onto the road, onto a side road to turn around, and I had to get out of the car for a minute, shut off a light, whatever. The back was open. I had to close it. So I get out of the car, and I almost stepped on a scorpion because I live in Texas, and a scorpion
tell me that.
goes, yes, it runs right in front of my foot. And I'm like, wow, I haven't seen a scorpion in a while. I'm like, fabulous. Okay, better get back in the car.
That goes with what I told you.
Yes.
Totally. Okay, you have to. I'm so excited. You have to tell them.
All right. So Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio, and here is our Astrotheology tie-in. Scorpio rules the genitals and sex,
and the
has
sacral chakra.
And the sacral chakra. Yes, and the heart of Scorpio, in the Scorpio constellation, is a star called Antares. Antares.
The first three, yes, the first three letters are ant, A-N-T.
So I had ants and a Scorpio, and a scorpion. Literally, and dreams are metaphored. I mean, that's how, especially for me, they're always symbolic of something, and then I have to figure it out myself and then learn what that meant to me. And so I honestly believe that, you know, the ants coming out of my ears after that happened, I had just turned down a bunch of men, suitors, and then ants come out of my ear. And it's like, okay, and then I see a scorpion. And so I feel like I have just conquered or transmuted the Antares energy. And by the way, Antares is known as the ruby heart of Scorpio, of the Scorpio constellation. And I saw ants. I saw a scorpion in real life, and I had ants in my dream. I was continually bitten by ants too. And so it's just very symbolic.
And there's more. Just really, really quick. Ruby.
And the ruby. Yes, I have this ruby friend, little ruby crystal. And I just felt, I went to sleep the other night, and I just felt like putting it, I didn't even know, I thought the ruby was for, and it is, for the root chakra. But I put this ruby on my sacral chakra. Plus, I don't actually know where to put something on your root chakra. I didn't know where to put it. So I put it on my sacral, and I went to sleep on my back for a little while. And I felt that sucker. It literally woke me up. It was twisting into my skin, and I'm not kidding. I know this really happened because it woke me up. It was working or doing something, this ruby. And in my sacral, I put it 2 inches below my belly button and slept and for about an hour, and then I was woken up, and it was literally moving on me. It was twisting back and forth, like digging into my skin a little bit. And I'm like, okay, time for you to come off there. And then I look up Ruby and Scorpio and ants, and it all tied together.
I love it.
I mean,
I love it.
Antares is the ruby heart of Scorpio. And I saw a scorpion had a ruby on my sacral that was digging into me and probably helping me transmute some stuff, because that's what the crystals do. When you need help, you can ask them for help to work through issues and energy. They will give you energetic assistance. And so I do believe that ruby, the ruby that I have and I love it, was helping me with my sacral chakra, and helping me to transmute the energy there. And just as the dream, and I transmuted things through the last show, and I was able to stand up in the astral, and that's filtered down to here too, and I knocked the ants out of me. Those little ants.
I know, and
the little
nothing,
sexy ants.
Yeah, you got rid of your sexy ants, and instead, don't bring sexy back. Let them go. It's just amazing when you have physical confirmations like this, and I hope other people are having the same results. That's the purpose of our show, is to reach out to people and to bring this ancient knowledge so that you can take it into your practical life and raise your vibration and move on from feeling like you're powerless. And the feeling of being powerless leads right into the next chakra, which you have the root, is number 1, and then you have the sacral, which is number 2, and then you come up to your solar plexus, which is number 3. And it's interesting that today we're talking about the solar plexus with the sun. Yeah. It's symbolized, yellow, like the sun. The element is fire, like the sun, me wanting the earth to be sucked up by the sun for the fires of transformation, that's my little kid side. But it all corresponds with your solar plexus. So many people are living their lives right now where they just feel powerless. They just feel like they're being singled out. They're being picked on. They feel like a victim. A lot of victim martyr energy. And
the government controls everything. What can I do? I'm never gonna. I'm just.
Yes, and they kind of want you to feel that way, and because they did burn the libraries of Alexandria, and they did physically hide our sacred holy science in the paper form. They did that, but what they really didn't take into account is that this knowledge is hermetically sealed. It's energetically sealed. Paper doesn't mean a thing, really. Right. Because with or without the physical libraries of Alexandria, we can very easily tune into that information as you raise your frequency. Your frequency is your library card. Well, you have a library card to everything you want to know in the libraries of Alexandria, in the Akash. You just have to raise your vibration to be in resonance with what you want to seek out. That's your library card. So when the churches were burning this information, and the reason why they did it was because of control. They didn't want us to move past our solar plexus. They wanted us to feel hopeless and feel like we couldn't change anything. And of course this was part of the game here. We did agree to this. This wasn't supposed to be paradise. This is a place of learning, and this is where you graduate from. So, it's nothing we should beat ourselves up about. Yes, we got screwed with more, but we did choose a very difficult place to incarnate in for a higher purpose. So, when you have a church and a system that is burning all of our information that gives us our power back, it makes it more difficult. But now that the planet's vibration is increasing, we are in fact tuning into that information. And I really feel as we move into a higher dimension that a lot of we're going to find more ancient texts in the physical, which, let's face it, it is easier to read it in a book than it is to use your library card.
And don't be surprised if there are places where some information was hidden and some of the government, whatever the powers that were, haven't found it. And it will be revealed to us when we're ready for it.
Absolutely. There's an article, the Vatican just now, not a fan of the Vatican at all, and I don't know why they did this. I'm sure it could be the ether energy. I'm not so sure, or if they had an ulterior motive, but they have actually released a lot of their hidden documents that are out for the public right now. I've looked at them. They're not as good as the Hermetic knowledge of Thoth and the Kabbalion and the Hermetica and some alchemical books, but the knowledge of the Tibetans. But it's still, we'll take what we can get. But the sacral chakra has taken a really big hit in the collective, where people feel powerless. And that's changing.
Solar plexus.
So, whoops, thank you.
That's okay.
in the sun chakra, that's changing as the vibration is changing, and we're realizing we're the gods we've been waiting for. We are the ancient aliens, and that's all coming from our gut. That's our solar plexus. That's being fixed, and as that information comes in, we're like, huh. I'm powerless? Are you kidding me? Do you know who I am? I'm a god. I am part of source. There's nothing you can do that I can't rise above. And that's true. There is nothing they can do. We can rise above anything. And that feeling of empowerment is your solar plexus. It corresponds with personal power, self-esteem, self-respect, your kidneys, which we talked about, your adrenals, your opinions. If your opinion of yourself is low, well, that's your solar plexus. Depression. We talked a lot about depression. Why do you think probiotics work against depression. It's because it's with your solar plexus, and your solar plexus is at your belly button, it's your gut, it's your belly. So that's why probiotics are now the new Prozac, because it's, you know, it's right there. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think actually this is something that you had sent me.
Oh boy.
Each person, no, just a statement that stood out so much, and you have to remember, each person must remember that you are the most powerful person in your world. Period. No government, no aliens, no nothing. You are the most powerful person in your world. Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And your world is defined by how you look at it and how you experience it.
Yeah, people have, you know, as far as the solar plexus goes, they have humanity on this planet has forgotten how great they are. Mm-hmm. And that's not their fault. And I really, you know, I feel, and this is just my opinion, that one of the things that really screwed us up more was these ancient and most cherished libraries and books and manuscripts. I don't feel they were supposed to be burned. And that's my walk-in information speaking. I don't feel they were supposed to be burned. I feel like this planet was supposed to be on a more level playing field. And if you raised your vibration, these texts would find you. And then it's up to you. Am I going to read them? Am I going to do the alchemy? Am I going to embrace the holy sciences? Or am I going to choose the other path and just say no?
That's right.
The choice
it was supposed to be bad and tough, but not this bad.
Not this bad. And that's, you know, that is my walk-in information. Is it was supposed to be a more balanced, difficult place to evolve. And when those manuscripts were taken and then they were just hermetically sealed, that makes it harder. That makes it so much harder. But we're coming back from that. I mean, and if everyone can see how, even though they burned our stuff, and they did burn the best stuff, okay, and they killed the people who were trying to teach it. I could just name, I hate naming the names of the ones that are fallen as they were trying to bring out this information, but there were so many of them. We're coming out of it. We are rising above it. We are still using our inner technology, and we're using our internal library cards to bring all this back. No one is gifting this information to us. We are bringing it back. So when you look at how we chose a difficult situation, and then and our books were burned, so right there, the playing field, it's not fair, and we're coming back from that. Do you realize? And this is walk-in information. No one thought we could do this. No one in other universes really thought that the Earth experience, the great experiment of seeing how far you could make something difficult, would ever bounce back as quickly as it is, and at the best possible vibration and at the best possible timeline. They just didn't think it would happen, and it is. That's amazing.
That's right.
That statement right there.
That can't keep us down. Just like in the movie Jurassic Park, you can't control life.
No. You can kick humanity.
Somehow they
to
still
the
made
curb.
females
No,
anyway.
because we're the gods. And when this solar plexus, that statement alone should fix everybody's solar plexus right there. You're not powerless. You have so much power. You have no idea how much power you hold in the palm of your hand. You hold the whole universe. Put that on your solar plexus and say, it's mine. Mm-hmm. It's mine. And everyone's taking their power back. I mean, you can just see it. You can feel it. And it's coming from the sun. I feel like everyone's getting hit in the gut in the solar plexus. That's why it's called solar.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is in the heart. Yes. But in order for people to move up to the heart, they have to move past the solar plexus. You go through your chakras, 1, 2, 3. And when 3 is fixed, then you can pull it up. You can pull the lower up into the middle before you pull the upper down.
Right.
And so the solar plexus, with people feeling helpless and people feeling powerless, it's got to go.
That's
if you
right.
truly want to get into the heart, and so many people think they are heart-centered, but if you feel powerless, you're not there.
Don't be afraid of the snake.
No.
You know what? That's another thing that's programmed into us, a fear of serpents. But really, your kundalini is that serpent, and you want to rise it. You want to embrace it and bring that energy up through you. Don't be afraid of knowledge. Don't be afraid of what the snake represents.
And who put that there? Churches.
Yeah, exactly.
All the information about the kundalini energy, the salamander, the worm.
The fear of the serpent. It was all
the fear of the serpent. And actually, this is funny because my childhood was crazy. It was originally, and this is going way, 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 way back, and you can research it. The worm is also a representation as baby kundalini. Before it goes into the snake. And I used to kiss worms when I was little. I loved them. I would pick them up and kiss them and name them. And I loved salamanders, and I would name them all Fred, which is my husband's name.
I love them too. I actually like snakes,
but growing
and
up,
I like lizards and stuff.
Growing up Southern Baptist, though, snakes were of the devil, and that's what we were taught.
Exactly.
But all that is changing. So you really have to take your power back. If you have low self-respect, remember we're dealing with mind, body, and soul here. Your thoughts program your DNA. Bruce Lipton did amazing work on this. The moment your perception changes, your body chemistry, physical body chemistry, changes. So if you're having a bad sacral, why am I still on that? If you're having a bad solar plexus day, and we all have them, and you're talking bad about yourself, your body chemistry is it's going to be not so healthy. So mind, body, and soul. So your mind is your own. So you need to control your thoughts. If you think the government is trying to kill you, then they are. Mm-hmm. And you need to take your power back, and that's in your solar plexus. You are in control of you. No government is in control of you. No chemtrail is. You can rise above anything if you raise your vibration. But if you think I'm just a little nothing and I have no power, that's what you're going to create. That's what you're going to vibrate, and that's what you're going to experience. And can you imagine if the collective consciousness realizes what gods they are, and all they have to do is fix their solar plexus and just say, I'm in control of me, and I am powerful. Just by fixing that alone, there's more of us than there are of them. We already out vibrate them. That in the Celestine prophecy, there is a mark, and I don't remember what this actual mark is. I'm sure everyone's yelling it out, but I can't remember what it is. But it's like a frequency fence, and we cross that. We vibrate higher than they do. So we are in control. But if more people realize that if you think it's going fast now, well, then you'd really have to buckle your seatbelts, because it's all up to the collective. It's all up to the collective. And we outnumber them. And if we can really change this quickly and really rip that Band-Aid off, and be in a better position than we are right now, just by simply taking your power back and just not letting things like the government control how you're going to live. And it might sound wacky right now, but it's true. Mm-hmm. That it's ancient science, ancient medicine. It's true. Talk to any shaman, they will tell you the same thing. That's why a lot of them head for the caves. That's not real self-mastery, in my opinion. But
I agree. It takes a lot more chutzpah to tough it out with people, and go through it with the others, and because then you can really shine your light and be a beacon amongst others, and they can see you.
Yes. You can always tell a mystic by the fruits of their labor. A lot of them don't speak. They walk silently. There is wisdom in silence. But you can always tell a person by the fruits of their labor. If they aren't walking the walk, then they aren't leading by example. True leaders lead by example.
Exactly.
And, you know, as all of you start to, which most people are, you know, you do your own inner work and you're taking your power back. The people that are on this call, you're the future of the golden age. Other people that are asleep are going to start waking up, and who do you think they're going to turn to? They're going to talk to the people that are listening now and listening to other shows that have already done the work. And you're the forerunners. You're the first people.
That's right. You're the way showers.
That's
the
it. You're the way-
pathfinders, the
Yeah.
pioneers. You know, it's like, why are you okay and you're happy? I want to be like that too. How? That's exactly.
Yeah.
People have sought me out too. They're like, "Hi, just how come you're so happy?" I'm like, well, okay, here's what I believe, and da da da.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
People will be
they
drawn to
find
your
you.
light. People will be drawn to your light. They're going to see you're happy. That's the whole goal of the great work. That's the whole goal of the holy sciences. Astrology was never supposed to be hidden because that's your blueprint. That's your life. That you weren't supposed to go through life with blinders on. You were supposed to have your birth chart. And it's even talked about in the Bible. And you know that takes your power back. That's another reason why the solar plexus has been hit so hard, is because we didn't have our birth charts.
Yes, we felt disconnected from source and separate.
And we
like
were
out floating all by ourselves and didn't have a path, or who am I? What am I here for? And
we were supposed to be like that, but we were supposed to have a textbook.
Yes.
And in that textbook is all the holy sciences, but the one that really gives you your power for transformation, that kind of zeroes in on for you and kind of says, here are your weaknesses, here are your strengths, here's what you need to transmute, is your good old-fashioned birth chart. Yeah. So I really strongly suggest to take your power back is to get a good birth chart. Learn astrology. You can teach yourself astrology. I did. Well, no, Santos Bonacci. I watched all his videos, and and Tom Letcher. So they were really, and my friend Helene, they were my astrology teachers. But they lit the path for me.
That's right.
Santos lit the path for me, and I walked the walk. He opened the door, I ran through it, and I started teaching myself astrology because I wanted to rise above my birth chart, which I have.
Exactly. You can rise above it once you understand it and understand.
To 0 point. Your
then
birth chart's a circle, and the goal is to move to 0 point, back to oneness of your birth chart, just like your journey back to source. And as you know your birth chart, that's your textbook of your life, and then you move back into 0 point, and every little tiny step you take back your power. You can choose not to do that, but you know, we were supposed to have that choice. It's like, okay, students, you're here on planet Earth. You have an astrology chart. This is your textbook. This is going to help you. If you don't want it, that's fine. But you have a choice. We really didn't have that choice.
Right.
You have it now. So I would suggest for your solar plexus and for your sanity and to take your power back, get a good birth chart. And learn astrology yourself, because as you learn astrology yourself and you learn any of the holy sciences, especially when you teach yourself, you're raising your vibration. You're raising to a higher level of consciousness. That's just how it works. That's your initiate, adept, moving into a Magnus energy. That's what they did in the mystery schools.
Yeah, the more knowledge you gain and you add to yourself, the more you're adding to yourself, and then you can raise higher and gather more knowledge.
And there's some really cool things that I like to do to develop your solar plexus more. And there's one that we don't have time to go into. I'll go into it next week, is candle gazing.
Right.
And I'll talk a lot about that. That develops your will. Your will and your intention is so important for your spiritual path, because without it you're just going to wander and you're going to ADD on your spiritual path. You really have to develop your will, which is your gut, your cauldron, your part of your middle cauldron. Candle gazing really develops that. But there's some other things I like to do. Tiger's eye is a very good crystal for your solar plexus. I'm trying to find my notes as I'm just pulling this out of my memory. Tiger's eye, gold, amber, citrine. They're my favorite gemstones just to hold in my hand. If you want to sleep with them like Andrea does, that's really great.
As long as they don't move.
Yeah, well, you could tape
That's
them
okay.
to you could tape them to your body. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you could put them in your pillowcase, or you could just sit, and if you're reading or watching TV, hold a tiger's eye. Some other things that I really like to do is, and this is for your digestion, is tea. There's ginger tea, peppermint tea. Peppermint's very, very good for your digestion. Turmeric, cumin, fennel. My favorite one is, and I can't really pronounce, I think it's Quechewig tea. English translation, it is Japanese twig tea. Yes, twig, leaves, twigs. And it balances your alkalinity, and in my home we call it the tummy tea. Because yeah, it's wonderful for your digestion, and it's wonderful for your solar plexus.
It's called cookie cha.
Yeah, it's with a K.
Kukicha.
That's
Cookie
it.
cha.
You can get it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I order mine. My holistic food store stopped carrying it. I was like so upset, but I order it on Amazon, and I drink it every day. And if I go several days and don't drink it, then it will actually make my stomach a little bit upset, which is a good thing. Some really good oils. My favorites are frankincense, Roman chamomile, and rosemary. Rosemary especially is really good if you have menstrual cramps. Don't use it in the evening. This is more of a morning oil, because it also is very good for giving you more energy. But if you take rosemary oil and put it on your solar plexus, because when you have cramps, let's face it, ladies, it's in your belly. We get bloated, and that really helps. I use Young Living oils, and they have a very good blend that is excellent for the sacral chakra and excellent for digestion. It's called DeGuise. So if any of you that are Young Living users, get DeGuise. Make that part of your staple everyday oils, because it's wonderful for digestion and for your solar plexus. Two other oils that are good. I personally don't use these, but we're all different. We all have different body chemistries. Black pepper is recommended, as well as lemongrass. But my favorite blend is taking frankincense and Roman chamomile and rosemary, and mixing that together with a carrier oil such as olive oil. A really good olive oil is very good, and anything but vegetable oil.
Yeah.
It has to
No
be
canola.
no canola, because you're just putting poison in your body. It has to be a
Olive oil's
a
good.
real oil. Has to be a real plant oil. Or if you can handle putting oils on your body called neat, instead of diluted, it's where you're taking the actual oil and you're not mixing it with a carrier oil, you're putting it right on your skin. If you've never used oils, make sure you test a little part of your body before you actually put it directly on your skin. I prefer it neat, but I've been using oils for so long that I guess I can just do that now, but not everybody can. So please be careful when you use your essential oils, and test it on yourself. And we have wonderful affirmations for the solar plexus, and I just love hearing you say them.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. here goes. All right, here are the affirmations to strengthen your solar plexus and feel your power. I am power. I am light. I am confidence. I trust myself. I shine more brightly than the sun. I am happy and confident with myself. I am comfortable in my own skin. I am empowered. I am cheerful. It is easy for me to relax. I know how to relax, and I know how that feels. I am decisive. I am accepted. I release all anger and resentment. I just let it go. I know who I am. I love who I am. Now you want to, when you say these, breathe into your solar plexus. Just imagine the oxygen coming into your solar plexus, and you kind of breathe in the words as you say them. You say them out loud, say them to yourself in the mirror, and then you breathe out all the anger, the fear, jealousy, rage, hatred, anxiety, resentment, any kind of victim consciousness thing where you feel disempowered and not good, not as good as anyone else, or feel like others have more power than you, or you're a victim of something. So you breathe in within the power and in those affirmations, and you breathe out. Breathe in the positive and breathe out the negative, basically. And as you do that, you are empowering yourself. And you can use your true power to remind those around you of their true power. If I can do it, you can do it. If Lisa can do it, you can do it. Because we went through a lot
Yes.
to get where we are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I just get stuck with like, yeah. Just when you say, I'm kind of like in a transformation zone right now, because as you were saying those, I could just feel those just going right into my solar plexus. And that's what I was thinking about, just coming out of my shell and taking my power, not feeling like, I never felt like a victim. I have to say that. I always felt powerful, but I would not come out of my shell.
You were
because
more,
was
it seems
scary.
like, you were afraid of not being accepted by other people and what other people would think, that you
Yeah.
would be like burned at the stake or something. And that's really scary
I
too.
was afraid I would be burned at the stake by fellow spiritual people.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Or
very
being afraid
powerless.
of jealousy too. Well, you had some experiences with other spiritual people who would lead you to that conclusion.
Most spiritual people have kicked me to the curb, and I'll just come right out and say that because of the spiritual competitiveness which comes from the sacral chakra, because there's so many spiritual people that are just so competitive, and it's because they feel powerless.
Right.
They really don't have the true knowledge of the holy sciences and of astrology, and some of them were even healing people that kicked me to the curb to make them feel more powerful. And it worked, because at that point it made me, I felt like I didn't have any power, and I've been dealing with this since 2008, since I walked in. And so that just shoved me in my little shell, because I didn't, I never felt like a victim. I always knew I had power in my shell. So that was different. I was powerful in my shell. You take me out of my shell, then I would just die.
You were a shrinking violet.
I was a shrinking. I was a shrinking violet, and there's so many more out there like me. There's so many people that have amazing knowledge. They have amazing intuition and wonderful knowings, and they're just like I was, and I'm still working on that. Just the other day, I I guess because I was getting hit with the solar flares, I don't know what it was, and these ascension symptoms, I just wanted to go back in my shell.
Yeah.
I was having a low solar plexus day, and I didn't even want to write my blog. I'm like, who cares what I have to say? My information is so far out there that they're just going to think I'm a wackadoodle. And you know what? I deserve better. And I'm like, I'm going back in my shell, and I just wanted to close the doors because I just felt like I had no power. And then, and I'm going to use this person's name. I don't even think he listens to the show, but his name is Dennis Mockton, and he's a Facebook friend of mine. And I reblogged his blog. I think it's called The Art of Knowing. And
Oh, yeah.
did you read that?
No, you told me about it. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Go to my blog or go to Dennis's blog. Silent Winds of Change, I believe is the name of his blog. And it's The Art of Knowing. And it was just basically about people who have knowledge sharing it.
Aw.
That the days of being called crazy are gone. You know, and then another reason why a lot of us want to stay in our shell is because we have the body cell memory of those of us that came before us.
Right, of being persecuted.
they were
Absolutely.
persecuted.
Everybody was persecuted that had knowledge because there was a crackdown on the knowledge.
Yes.
I mean, just look at the Spanish Inquisition and all of that. And my mother has full memory of a former life where she was burned at the stake as a witch. And yeah, she remembers. I would say, I mean, the solar plexus chakra, it's imbalanced in two ways. You're either afraid to step into your power because of not being accepted by other people, or you overdo it and you just want to prove that you're more powerful than everyone else by just shutting everybody else up. But really, it really comes down to, in that case, being insecure about your own power. When you're a truly powerful person, you can be just fine stepping aside and letting other people shine their light. You know, that's what the greatest powers do. They step back, and the greatest teachers create more teachers. You know, they don't try to get all the spotlight for themselves. That's just an ego thing, you know, and just ego feeding. And that means you're insecure about losing that power. But you never lose it. I mean, if you really have power, you've always got that. And you can just step aside and allow somebody else to shine and have some power. And then they can do it and step aside. And then won't the earth be a wonderful place if everyone can just coexist with everyone else? We all are gods anyway. I mean, really.
I know. We're all teachers. We're all gurus. Just some of us are farther along on the path. And in ancient times in the temples of Egypt, the true teachers did step aside. They did not want followers. They didn't let their students attach to them because they knew teachers would fail if their students attached to themselves. Teachers teach teachers. Teachers create leaders. If you don't create leaders and everyone's attached to you, that you're not evolving. You're
just hanging out in a dictatorship, basically.
Yeah, and then,
even if it's a benign dictatorship, it's still, there's no evolution there.
And then what do you do when your guru, when your sensei, I prefer the word sensei, what do you do when your sensei, your teacher, dies? And if he hasn't, or she hasn't done her job for you to clear your solar plexus and develop your own personal power, you don't know how to operate.
Yeah, they just go find another teacher.
They just find another teacher.
They just go like one little sheep to a little flock to find somebody else. Will you give me enlightenment? Hello. Will you give me enlightenment? Hello. Yeah. Will you? But no. I mean, and I've done that, gone from teacher to teacher to teacher, but it's not because I wanted to learn, although I did do that actually.
Oops.
Yeah, I have learned. However, been there, done that. But now I want to gather as much knowledge as I can, and I'm finally, I've been external here or there and everywhere else, and now I'm looking internal and finally looking inside of myself. But external teachers, I mean, they can definitely help you to create that spark of remembrance in you,
Yes,
or
I
to point
agree.
you in the right direction.
I agree. I totally agree. And we're gonna have to wrap it up. We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I apologize to people.
Sorry
This
about
is
that.
so. Yeah, Andrea and I, when we talk, we can kill 3 hours in 2 seconds, and so I apologize. But just one quick note about teachers in the physical. Right now, a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth, and rightfully so, because their spirituality has become so commercialized and it's so competitive, and people are competing because that's where they're making their money from. Your ancient teachers did not make a living from teaching spiritual knowledge. Probably from doing readings and doing healings, yes, but not really so much from teaching. You lived with your teacher. Your teacher supplied you with food and shelter. And in the old days, like in the mystery schools, your energy and your dedication was your payment. You didn't have to pay for it. But nowadays, it's different. It's commercialized. It's very competitive. There is nothing wrong with a physical teacher as long as you judge that person by the fruits of their labor, and they can open the door for you, but they're going to kind of kick you through it, and then you have to walk the walk, and you will eventually leave that person. But there is nothing wrong with a physical teacher. So I just want people to understand that that's okay. You're gonna find someone, and you know what? If it's good for you, you will draw it to you, because there's the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, either in the physical or in the astral or in the form of a book, and that's okay. It's just what you need. I needed a physical teacher, and I got one, but not everybody needs that. But there's nothing wrong with it as long as you don't tether to them. It's all about you. It's all about you. You are the universe. You're the center of your own universe.
Right. We're all sharing knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We're learning, we're gathering, we're sharing, and we're all in this together. Nobody is really, I mean, yes, people vibrate higher and lower, and that's just the nature of the way the universe works, but no one's really better or worse. So
Yes, and technically, everybody is a teacher. The
Yeah.
person you run into at the grocery store is your teacher, because they are holding a mirror and showing you which chakra you need to work on next.
And little kids are too.
Kids
I
are
mean, just showing you joy.
Crystals are teachers.
Yeah.
Earth is your greatest teacher. If you could ever live out, on in the wild, in the woods, that's a great teacher. But there's nothing wrong with having a sensei. There is nothing wrong with having a physical teacher, as long as it's not permanent. And your really, really good teachers will kick you away. My healing teacher, I was with her for a while, and she used to tell us all the time, and oh my gosh, we cried our last class, because she's like, you guys you're beyond me. And she actually said that. She said, your frequencies are beyond what I can give you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
was our last
perfect.
class. And she said, yep, I did my job. You always want to raise that person to a level higher than you. And she did it. She basically kicked us out. We still go back for classes and things like that, but they're taught she brings in other teachers to teach us.
Just like parenting with
Yeah,
little
it's just
children.
like
You don't want
parenting.
your kids to live with you for the rest of their lives,
Mhm.
You want to make them successful adults and help, teach them what they need to know to make their own lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So everybody come out of your shells.
yep.
We're
Get off this call, sorry.
yes.
We're like, blah, blah, blah.
We're gonna call it a night or a day or an afternoon, wherever you happen to be when you're listening to us. And thank you for giving us your time.
Yes, thank you very much.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Good night, good day.
Good night, good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.